The USDA now seems pretty comfortable with their old season corn production, down around the 10.7 billion bushels. I think that's 2 reports in a row now where that hasn't changed much, so I really, I think that's now known to the market. But the interesting point to take out of it was old crop demand for corn, and in particular their domestic feeding in the States, is still very high. I think they raised their feed consumption estimate by about 300 million bushels, which was a big surprise to the market. And I think what it shows is price in the old crop for corn has probably not done the job that it needs to do in order to get us through the new crop. I think when you add that increase in old crop feeding, when you add that to a decrease in the old crop exports, you still come up with a tighter carry-out than what we had going into the report. So to me that says that the old crop market for corn in the US has not done the job that it needs to do yet, and that higher prices might be required for some time in order to reduce the feeding to a number that allows us to get to new crop without running out of corn. That would be, that would potentially see that old crop new crop corn spread go from about $1.20 a bushel at the moment, potentially head out to somewhere towards $1.50 or $2, which would be an extraordinary situation and one that we haven't seen for a very long time. South American new crop production was increased by USDA. It's still early in the game over there though. I think it's important to note that the market is expecting pretty benign to favourable weather conditions in South America. And look, certainly that's the case at the moment. The situation there has improved. I know Argentina was very late in getting their crop in the ground because it was too wet. However, it was about this time last year when things really started to fall apart there, and if anything, it would be fair to say that the situation over there is stabilising now, and their new crop prospects look very good, but they're not home yet. The market certainly expects there to be an increase in corn plantings again. It's interesting to see how corn plantings have increased year on year for the last 5 or 6 years. I think about 5 years ago the USA was planting about 85 million acres of corn. Last year they planted about 97 million acres of corn, and there is an expectation that plantings this year will be up around 99 or even 100 million acres, which is look, it's been hot. It's no secret. It's extremely hot out there. I think it's very fair to say that there's probably been a 15 to 20% reduction in the potential for yields in southern Queensland for sorghum. We've certainly starting to factor that into our balance sheet. The northern New South Wales crop was always in trouble. A lot of it just never got planted, and with the temperatures that they've been experiencing right across northern New South Wales and southern Queensland, I would think that production prospects have only gotten tighter. But perhaps the big sleeper is central Queensland. As you know, most of our export supplies of sorghum come from central Queensland. The Japanese market in particular relies on central Queensland production year on year. And having been to central Queensland last week, I can tell you that there's next to nothing planted up there. There is still about another 4 to 6 weeks of opportunity for that crop to get planted, but the weather forecasts don't look good. And it's possible that we may actually see significant decrease in production up there just from dry, hot weather. We've seen more cattle pushed into feedlots in the last month. That's a trend that I expect will continue. Obviously, with this prolonged dry spell, you will see a lot of supplementary feeding. I think that will tighten up supplies of things like cottonseed, and obviously sorghum and wheat as well. So we're not seeing anything bearish as far as domestic feed grain consumption goes here at the moment. We saw the US catch some tender business into Egypt last week. Soft red winter supplies in the US are quite large, so look, that's not a surprise. That's actually business that the US needs to be doing. They've got the wheat there. They have to push it out the door. The world market needs it. I think probably the biggest influence on our market going forward that's going to affect growers here in Australia is just the size of the inverse in global markets. I think if you look at where cash grain values around the world are now and where they sit for the back half of the year, you can see that there is a big inverse coming, and that is, it's predicated upon the perception that there's going to be a very large northern hemisphere crop of wheat in the new crop, corn as well. So there really is a window of opportunity here for growers to market their grain at good values, and then sit back and see what the weather does to the northern hemisphere production.